Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel. You've got your boys here, Bert, the hit man, the best there is, the best there was. And you've got Lanny here, guys, the DD, reaching 20,000 subscribers. Thanks to you guys. Just bring it.
Let's go, everybody. And again, smash the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. Holla at your boys, the Dividend Diplomats. And if there's any types of videos you want, any stock analyses, stock comparisons, could be any topic, let us know in that comment section below. We like to change it up, throw some curveballs in here. Just make sure you guys are getting value out of what we're talking about here as we continue to pump out videos on this channel.
I think that's the curve, right? I think that's the
Yes.
snap down.
Yes. Yeah, I could never throw a curveball. That was my thing. I could never get my elbow bending the right way to do it.
Yeah, get that Tommy John. And yeah, guys, today we are
Yeah.
looking at two dividend stocks in the same industry. We're actually going into the oil industry because Bert and I, we were talking, this could be a good opportunity to buy oil stock. You might have seen my screen just go dark. Don't worry about that. It's just because I'm looking at Chevron stock. Yet the last 6 months, they're also down 7%, but we are not talking about Chevron.
Oh, we're
We're talking
not.
about two other oil stocks that this guy owns in the portfolio.
Yeah. So obviously, big oil, big dividends help give you a big jolt to your dividend income. That's why people buy oil
Mm,
companies. Typically, you're going to see yields of at least 4%. I think Chevron's on the lower end in the threes, but they're the anomaly. Everything else is 4% or higher. Did I say Chevron or did I mean Exxon?
I think Chevron is above 4%
Oh,
now.
I stand corrected. All right. Remix that.
Whoop,
All
whoop,
your
whoop.
oil companies are above 4% yield.
Yeah, it's kind of like let's say that's your baseline here. We'd
Yeah.
recommend looking at oil, guys. Especially all you passive income investors out there. Oil is usually a good fixed income provider to your portfolio. But yeah, we got
Yeah.
two stocks here. Each stock is 166 billion in market cap. The other one's 212 billion. So we're talking about some big companies, but we're not talking about Chevron. We're not talking about Exxon. We're even talking about BP, guys. Um, but I'll just say it. We're talking about TotalEnergies, ticker symbol TTE, one of my earlier oil stocks that I've owned actually in my time, well over 10 years. And we're talking about Shell, ticker symbol SHEL. So two big oil companies, oil giants. But let's just look at what the metrics are, Bert. We look at the DD stock screener, brother.
Yeah, that features the price to earnings ratio, less than the S&P 500. Two, that dividend payout ratio, less than 60%. Three, that history of increasing those mother effing dividends, where we focus on 5-year dividend growth rate and how many years have you increased the dividend. Lastly, that bonus metric, the dividend yield. Can't wait to see them side by side, how they're looking metric by metric. We got a fight on our hands, everybody.
Yeah, we got two international companies here too, so that's a lot of fun, let me tell you. Now, Bert, do you own Total? I can't remember.
I do. In my wife's portfolio, we own Total. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do. And we also own Shell. What about you? Do you own both these?
absolutely. I do own
Yeah.
both of them. Jinkies. So guys, do you guys own Total and Shell? Let us know in the comments. Who is your favorite oil stock? I know we usually say it to any other beginner investor, obviously not professional advice, but Chevron is kind of like your, a good high quality one.
hmm
But we're talking about Total first. We're going to go metric by metric, Total, Shell. I'll take Total. Bert will take Shell.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go.
do it.
Yeah.
So this is going to be very funny, actually, these first few metrics. But Total trading at $68.60. Forward earning projections are $8.21. So that's a low PE of 8.36. How does Shell look,
Yeah.
B?
Price is 68.51. Earnings per share are 828. Side by side, very close. P ratio is 827. So this one,
Shell wins. Shell
yeah.
wins.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Let's check out that payout ratio here. What is Total's payout ratio looking like?
So again, we're dealing with international dividends, our absolute favorite. We love
Yeah.
international volatile dividends that never are the same. Actually, Shell is it's the
They've gotten
same.
better.
Yeah. So Total though is $3.33 ish, according
Ish.
to Seek Alpha. Last 4 quarters, 41% dividend payout ratio.
All right,
Back
all
to
right.
you.
Shell, $2.75 dividend, 33% payout ratio here. So Shell has the lower payout ratio, but Shell's had a much more interesting dividend journey than Total, which we will get to here. And
5-year dividend growth rate, according to Dividend Investor for Total, we're looking at 4.92%. Not really a consistent streak, but that the dividend usually trends up for Total.
that's the best we can do with international companies. Sometimes you see the line moving upwards. We love it. We freaking love it. Shell, well, they've grown their dividend lately, but that was after a dividend cut. If you remember a few years ago, Shell had the big dividend cut right after COVID to kind of rework their balance sheet, which was a prudent move, and it turned out to work out in the long run for the company. But obviously, as a dividend investor, it sucked getting a dividend cut. It's great to see them coming back for 3+ years, though, of dividend growth.
Yeah, they've had some pretty strong growth lately. Excited to see what they do here in 2025. Probably pretty modest, though.
Yeah.
But dividend yield, guys, Total is at 4.85% based on these metrics. So real solid, above even Chevron, like we mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What about
Mm-hmm.
Shell? What about Shell on the yield front?
4.02%. So
Oh, one of
lower
the lower
yield than
yielding.
Total.
Yeah,
It's interesting
interesting.
though. I mean, obviously Shell used to be closer to 6%. That used to be what gave you the Shell premium. But as we said, they've right-sized that dividend. They've brought it down after the dividend cut. So it's in that range of what you'd see with some of the other oil companies.
Similarly, the 5-year dividend yield average, according to Dividend Investor, was 6.49%. And obviously, that's going to take in some low oil years in 2020 and
Yeah.
2019, maybe. I have to go back and look. So, again, there were some really high, you could have really bought some like 8 to 9% big oil company yields back then and really been crushing it.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously there is no 5-year average dividend yield for Shell. It's too hard to figure out. It
Yeah.
wouldn't even be relevant anyway with the dividend cut.
Especially because they changed their ticker too and all that stuff. So,
I forgot about that.
Total did the same thing from
Yeah, they
TOT
used to
to
be TOT
TT.
and Shell used to be RDS.A, which is always the hardest thing to find for some reason.
Yeah,
There.
yeah.
All right, so
It
let's
is
talk
what
about
it is.
performance. What has Total done for us
Sure.
lately?
Yeah. So only up about 1.5% this year, down almost 7% in the last 6 months, up 3.5% though in the
Ooh.
last month. So up recently, but this year kind of flat.
Yeah, same. Shell has a similar story. Up to year date, up 3.94%, down 4.61% over the last 6 months, up 2.39% over the last month. So pretty similar. They're about the same.
Pretty similar. Kind of funny though, because it's like recently Total's done better, but year to date, obviously Shell's outperformed. So it's kind of like, okay, two little horses kind of running after each other here to who knows where.
Hey.
Um, so here I am, I'm looking at, okay, my oil exposure, if I actually bounce over to my portfolio, so
Yeah.
apologize if you guys see me swing over my oil exposure over time, because I mean, Bert and I know, I mean, Bert knows it. Obviously, I know it. We haven't really been buying oil
No,
in a very long time to the
no.
point now where that oil exposure, in my own portfolio is down to like below 4%. So we're
Yeah.
below 4% right now in oil for
Yeah,
exposure.
a long time ago, I was very heavy in oil and I just stopped buying it because I was so overweight and I moved elsewhere. But it's always great to keep looking and keep digging, especially with how hard it is to find undervalued stocks right now. The oil sector really does seem to be showing some signs of value.
Yeah. So, if I were to buy one of these, you know, maybe I would just kind of buy both. If I had $1,000, again, not professional advice, I might consider throwing 500 at either stock. Again, I don't think any of these stocks are bad stocks to buy. Low PEs, low payout, history of growth, solid yields above 4%. Am I buying right now? I'll let you guys know. Just pay attention to Twitter or X. I'll let you guys know if I end up buying any oil, over the short term. But they're high on my stocks to buy list right now, especially as the market's been up over 21% this year.
Yeah. Great companies, great values. I could see why you would buy both. Keep an eye on that DD Twitter feed to see is Lanny buying that big oil.
Guys, what about you? Are you buying any oil stocks? Do you like Total or Shell? Which one would you buy? Are any of these stocks to buy right now, or are you waiting until after the election is complete? Let us know in those comments below.
you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and remember, you're either with us or you're against us, Jack.
Oh yeah, brother, that was Bert, the hitman, the hurt locker, the legend over there. And this is Lanny, your boys here over at the Dividend Diplomats. Over and out.